I'm very excited to talk to you. We're beginning to your new movie, My Best Worst Adventure, which arrives September 1st, that you wrote, directed, and edited. But before that, here at Bionic Buzz, we're all about people's passion. I want to know where your passion to be a filmmaker kind of came from. Was a certain movie inspired it, or something that was natural for you as a child?
No, that's a fascinating question. I was not that big of a movie buff. I was really into cartoons and animation, and really figured I was going to be a fine artist. So I went to art school and um, tried the painting thing and didn't think I'd make a living doing that. So I got into animation, got a Disney apprenticeship, and realized that it's really hard to do animation, especially back in. I'm from the old draw on a sheet
The
of glass
hand-drawn
days.
time period, yeah.
Yeah, and doing 24 drawings in a single second, uh,
Wow.
times 60 times 60 times the rest of your life. I just like, I can't do this. And seeing all those poor guys hunched over their light tables at Disney, I just freaked. And but the film thing sounded kind of cool still. So I thought, well, so much easier to hold a camera where the 24 frames are clicking through and you're not doing a damn thing except watching. And that really was it. I just got into film because I was too lazy to do animation.
I feel you on that. I originally moved to LA to try to make it in the animation, but it is hard to get done, and this is just Flash animation too. So,
Mhm.
and it's
Yeah.
easier just to shoot and edit, and then doing interviews. It's a lot easier. So I understand.
Yes. You know what? We're like water. We just find the easiest way down the hill. And
Yeah,
yeah, I understand that completely. And it's just
gotcha.
fun, there's just so many different kinds of media right now that you can immerse yourself in, that you don't have to lock yourself into anything like a movie or a movie camera with film clicking through it at $1 a second.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's amazing. I'm actually about to upgrade my camera, and just the stuff I can get now that shoots 6K. That's like, back in the day it was like,
Oh my God.
ridiculously expensive. Now it's like, okay, I can afford that. It's like,
When video first took over, I was making features at 720p and going, "Whoa, this is the new way to do it." And of course, all those things are almost worthless now.
yeah, yeah. Well, I like to get into your amazing career. My first horror movie I ever saw as a kid was Children of the Corn, and you actually got to do, I think, write and be produce two of the Children of the Corn, Genesis and Runaway. I mean, were you a big fan of the series growing up? Like, to me, that's a big deal. It's like,
Yeah, I love Children of the. I love the first one of all of these horror movies, and I just feel that part of my film legacy is to kill franchises. And and because there is a certain point where you can have little, you know, junior units running around with sickles and axes in the cornfields and do a whole lot that's new.
hmm
And by the time I got involved in Children of the Corn, I mean, I consulted on a few of the early ones, and I think I wrote a little bit on them, and just piecemeal stuff. But when I really got involved in writing and directing, there was like 10, 11, 12
hmm
on. And it was a challenge. I guess that's the closest thing I've come to doing series television, where you're going, okay, what can they do now? You know?
Yeah, well,
And
it's interesting because like it's kind of like it's the same thing with The Crow for me. Like, I don't care if it's terrible or not. If it's a new Children of the Corn, I'll go see it. It's like, because I still love that. I still get that same feeling of watching the first one the first time. So you were a producer for the very first Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. I mean, that's pretty
yeah,
amazing. Did you have any fun stories from putting that together? I mean, I'm sure at the time no one probably thought that would be a hit.
far from it. I mean, we made it for this really great Italian producer named Dino De Laurentiis, who, um, suffice to say, English was not his first language. And,
Oh,
Bill and Ted, anyone who's watched it knows how culturally specific it is. I mean, it's about a certain time and a place and a way of speaking, and the humor is completely just of its time, sort of. Although I think a lot of people still relate to it,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
but Dino had no idea what we were trying to do there, and he was in no way interested in making the movie, uh, except that he had done a film, um, a big, sweeping, epic film on Napoleon.
Oh, so
And
that's why Napoleon's in it, huh?
yes, so we decided that we'd focus on Napoleon and say this is all really about Napoleon and how he comes to the present and does all this really cool
Goes to the
stuff.
water park.
Oh, Napoleon. Okay, I get that. And what about this war in San Dimas? And he had misread the slug line in the script, which was the world of San Dimas, California. And so the war, yes, we will do the war in San Dimas with Napoleon. And we were off and running, but of course, it was a hollow victory, because by the time we finished the film and spent $9 million of his money, he watched the film, and it was just him and his senior executives, who all sat in this screening room just silent as church mouses and just grim, because they thought this was the worst movie that they had ever been involved in. And so they sold it immediately. It was a $9 million approximate film, which was quite a bit of money back then.
Yeah.
And they sold it for about $1 million to a little upstart company. I think it was called Nelson Entertainment, and never tested it, never even showed it to a living soul, as far as I know. And this little company went and tested it in New Jersey. They just gambled pretty much all the rest of the pocket lint they had in their pocket to do this test. And it was the highest rated test screening at the time, I think, in that state's history or something like that. It was just like, it was through the roof. It was, people went nuts for it. And so we got a decent distribution through Orion, and obviously it sort of took off. But
Oh, absolutely. And now
there's a lesson in there, I think, that you as a filmmaker, you can't just go off the first reaction to your work. You have to just ride it out and make sure it sucks before you bury it, because that film was just a breath away from being buried and never seen again.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Well, I guess thanks to Napoleon it got made. So that's a cool story.
Thanks to Napoleon. Yes.
Well,
exactly.
cool. Let's get into your new movie. It's about like a Thai teenager has kind of forced to go stay with her grandmother in Thailand. What a great movie. A lot of heart. I fell for her. I mean, like when she's like doing her journal on her iPad, and then she's like 5% battery left, and then she's trying to find somewhere to plug it in. She can't. I guess tell us, because where's the inspiration for writing this story first,
Well, I think the history that you just carved out for me was enough of the inspiration that I needed. I had done a lot of genre films, teen comedies, horrors, action films, and all of that stuff, which I like.
Yeah.
But there was this itch I wanted to scratch, which is, let's make a movie about real people in a real place that we're not familiar with, and the struggles of just growing up. And I was actually doing a sort of a horror thriller in Bangkok called Cam to Cam. And the producer, I was just talking to her one day, like about, what was life like growing up for you? And she told me this story about growing up in the north of Thailand near the Cambodian border, this tiny little village. And what they did is they raced water buffaloes like we do the Kentucky Derby. And it's the big event in Thailand. And if you're really good at it, you go to, the nationals. Mm-hmm. And but it's super dangerous because they ride these, basically it's like the running of the bulls in Pamplona. Instead of being chased by them, you're on top of them.
Oh
And
yeah, and you fall off, and you still got to run next to it
you
to get
fall
across
off,
the line. Oh my goodness!
you got 60 behind you just ready to trample you, and how they roll out of the way and get, I have no idea. It was just like, and we're doing this with children. So needless to say, we just bought the children from the parents, figuring we weren't going to get, no, I didn't do that, no.
Yeah.
But we had stunt people, and very good ones, that did the work, and the close-ups were very carefully monitored. But but the thrill of that really engaged me, like these old movies that I used to love, like, you know, National Velvet and Black Beauty and Seabiscuit, which isn't that old, but just, you know, this whole idea of the little beat down kid or person who manages to find their way into this world and triumph in a way. And that really spoke to me. So it was really easy coming up with a story and getting the support we needed to make the movie, because the ties were over the moon about it. It was like, finally somebody's interested in something we do and something we care about.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah. So when did you like shoot this and stuff? Was this during the pandemic at all, or before?
No,
then?
it was before the pandemic, which is good because Thailand is now shut down even more than we are. But it was just a little interval between, you know, my more mainstream exercises, and turned out to be one of, if not my favorite film I've ever made, and the one I'm probably the most proud of. And
very cool.
It came from nothing, you know.
Yeah.
It just was, you know, this little germ of an idea.
Nice. Well, it kind of got into my other question about filming the water buffalo running scene. So, I mean, how many takes did you have to do for that whole thing? I mean, 'cause that was pretty epic. I like how you tease at the very beginning of the film, and then you see it later, you know?
Well, it was almost kind of like the film was, they were learning as we shot, because neither of my two leads were, you know, at all aware of buffalo. They were urban kids, and they didn't know anything about buffalo riding. The boy was an actor. The girl had never acted in her life, so she was.
Oh, really? Wow! I never would have guessed that after
amazing.
watching that. Yeah.
She walked into an audition because she'd skipped school, and she was just one of these kind of outsiders who didn't connect with anyone. She was just looking for something to do, and she was incredibly rebellious, and pretty much, and parents split up and living with her grandmother. She was the story of this,
Oh,
this poor
absolutely. Yeah.
disaffected girl. And she just walked into the audition and just blew me away. And you know, they all just like, no, don't hire her. She's trouble, you know, because she's, the only reason she showed up there was she was running away from school. And
Yeah, but that kind of plays into her character, though. I feel like
oh,
a little bit.
it did totally.
Yeah,
That's all I was hearing is don't means yes. That is perfect. And the fact that she'd never acted before, the fact that she was just not going to fake it, but be the embodiment of that character, really just, it was a gamble that totally worked out. And she was a joy. She was so dialed in. She found something actually that I think that spoke to her, but and she cried on cue, and all I had to do, and this was one of the worst directing chores that I've ever had in my life, was getting her to cry. I said, is there a particular process you'd like to me to do to get you into this? And she said, all you have to do is just tell me I'm worthless. And that's all I did. And the tears came immediately. I mean, that's how she looked at herself.
Oh, wow.
And it was heartbreaking, but it was also just so, you know, you forget that you're working with human beings sometimes, and, you know, they're not movable props. They're real, fully, you know, reactional that's a word. People.
Well, her performance is amazing. And I never would have guessed this is her first time acting. So wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was. And yeah, she did not like being on top of a water buffalo, but very few people do that are not born that way.
Oh, absolutely. I wouldn't want to be up there, especially watching it. Well, everyone, you need to check out this movie. It comes out September 1st. Is it available, I guess, digitally everywhere September 1st? Is that how it's going to be released?
It's God, there's two terms now that I got to wrap my head around.
Yeah.
One is TVOD and the other is SVOD. So that comes out September 1st, TVOD, which is on demand and pay-per-view. And
Okay.
SVOD is all those streaming services that, the Amazon Primes and the Netflixy things and the Tubies and the Hulus and all that. So that would be December 1st.
Okay. Cool. Before I let you go, is there anything else coming up you're allowed to talk about before I let you go?
Well, I'm actually, it's the first time I'm telling anybody this, actually, because we've been sort of on the down low, but I'm making a movie with Danny Trejo next month.
Nice.
It's a remake of, not a remake, how about a reimagining is a better word, of the Magnificent Seven, which before that was the Seven Samurai.
Yeah.
Only it's kind of a modern take on it, and lots of humor and some pretty quirky action. So I'm kind of looking forward to doing.
Oh, that's gonna be awesome. I hope he's gonna be catering with his tacos and donuts.
Oh, you know what? He better. There's good. But it's a whole nother talk for another day. Is anybody shooting a movie during this COVID
absolutely.
surge is asking for trouble, and I'm walking right into the middle of it because we're shooting in Oklahoma, which is like a hotbed for that. But apart from that, I'm very, very excited.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm sure it'll work out fine if everyone just stay safe, wear the mask, try to social distance,
Well, it's going to be the Magnificent Seven, 100 yards apart.
Yeah, there you go.
But we'll figure it out.
Cool. Are you on social media by any chance? We can follow your journey going forward, or any particular one you're on, or?
Well, I don't do a lot of social media, but we do have My Best Worst Adventure has a Facebook page and a Twitter page now.
Oh, awesome.
Which is huge for me, the guy who just got himself a cell phone 10 years ago for the first time. So yeah, I'm trying to make progress. You're way ahead of me on that one.
Oh, good, man. Well, you keep up amazing work. Everyone, please check out My Best Worst Adventure, September 1st, and then it'll be coming to all the streaming platforms December, what
1st.
Day was that again? 1st. Okay.
September 1st.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you taking your time to talk to me.
Thank you, Stephen. Really appreciate it.